This week on RSBANDB Update, Ninja Week for September is here with more fixes for the farm and the Grand Exchange. Jagex has then graced us with RuneScape, the Orchestral Collection, the first official RuneScape soundtrack. Finally, iOS 12 is here, and it's a must install. This is RSBANDB Update, episode 689, recorded Thursday, September 20th, 2018. Kill 'em Willy Nilly. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us once again for RSBANDB Update. Tanis and myself are steering this fine ship, as it were, as we do each and every week.
Yep, thank you, Shane. We are not adrift. We are not becalmed in a sea of nothingness. We are in motion.
We are in motion, and, you don't feel like you're in motion, but I feel like I'm in motion, getting everything ready for RuneFest, RSBANDB, Clan Quest, real life related. And
no, I honestly, I feel like same shit, different week at this point. I really want something to happen soon.
Well,
I can't wait for RuneFest.
I mean, I can give you something to happen, and I can actually share this right now. Something that we have been working on, and I think I might as well share it. At least I'll share the version that everyone else can see. If you head on over to clanquest.org, we have a brand new logo, homepage design. Logo was commissioned, and I built us a new homepage for recruiting to the clan. So if you're at all interested in ever joining Clan Quest, just head on over to clanquest.org, and we basically have our membership brochure and quick little 5-minute read-through as to why you should just join Clan Quest, and all that information is right there at clanquest.org, including instructions on how to join, the very small amount of requirements that there are. So you can find that all there. But I'm quite pleased with how this rebrand of the website and whatnot turned out. So clanquest.org, if you're not a member, head on over there and have a look. I don't know. I couldn't help but getting that plug in very early because, we've been working on this branding since, I want to say June probably. Oh, wow. And it's finally rolling out to everyone, so we got that now. But yeah, in case you're wondering what we're doing this week, it is another Ninja Patch Week episode. So,
bum bum bum.
But we do have fun things to discuss. So we're going to go through the patch notes right now this week. I think you'll tell us if you have any that jumped out in addition to this as we move on. But starting off, a bunch of player-owned farm fixes again, which is very welcome, including having Balthazar added to the player-owned farm.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
because I've forgotten like half of the days this month.
Yeah,
I just wasn't going to Birthright. Yeah.
And see, I don't know if this is something they needed to do.
Well, look, I agree with you in that sense, but in the sense that I like things to be easy. I like that. If you are not on a world that is heavily populated, it's not too much clutter. But if you're on a world that is pretty heavily populated, it's a little much. But,
Yeah. And actually, speaking of that, I did win a Golden God Sword this past Sunday.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Zamorak won. So that's two of them. I won one last raffle. We'll see if we can pull another during this. So that's good. I always just go for the Golden God Swords because, they're so iconic, so might as well, right?
Yeah, well, it sounds like you need a whole chest of keepsakes.
Yeah. So, anyways, continuing on, the destroy buckets option when farming will now factor in the interactions between the buckets of the player-owned farm manure and compost bin. Ticket if you want to get rid of your buckets. Unticket if you'd rather keep them. Yeah, I noticed this, that my buckets were disappearing, and I found that a bit odd, so that's good. That's been fixed. You been making any ultra compost?
I haven't made the compost yet, but I have been collecting the poop.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Like what I'll do is I'll do like a farm run that we talked about last week, and then but I'll end my farm run at Artie, and so I have all those empty buckets, and then I just jump in the dragon pens when I'm done and clean up like that. So
yeah. And, you know, I still do my super compost at Cruis and Catherby, so I've added ultra compost in at the Ardoyan farm. So, you know, I am continuing that trend of just making my own compost. So, anyways.
Yeah.
The player will no longer get trapped in the windmill when completing the Chosen Commander quest.
Never got trapped in the windmill when I did that, but
No.
who knows what came after that broke it.
So, yeah, that was a little bit interesting, wasn't it? The fact that can happen now. So, you can now use roasted raw sailfish on the feeding troughs at your farm.
Cool. I don't know why you would use sailfish, but
I had a bunch of sailfish that were just sitting there.
That's the most expensive food. Why would you want to?
No, that's rocktail.
Rocktail is over sailfish?
Pretty sure. And, I mean, who uses sailfish and sells it? Or eats it, rather?
I thought it was the highest healing food, so...
Oh, sailfish. Oops, I'm thinking of cavefish.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, well, that's a missing patch note then, because they also did patch it in so you can use raw cavefish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was.
I was confused.
Before. Okay.
I'm like, wait a minute.
You're right.
What?
Oh boy, who the hell would use sailfish on that?
I don't know. I've been using swordfish, and my stuff is perfectly happy.
I've been using lobsters.
You can get it free from the kingdom. So, like, I just switched up my kingdom stuff, especially with mining and smithing coming. You know, I don't need coal anymore. So,
good idea.
Yeah,
good idea. My primary on the kingdom is mahogany logs for the plank maker.
Okay. Yep.
So
good call.
Change the Ardoyan lunar spell to be teleporting you in outside the breeding pen. Also tweak the Ardoyan cloak teleport to not be around the compost bin, but closer to the herb patch and breeding pen. Granny Potterington will now sell animal pen kits on the farmer's market, and this is in response to Iron Men, because previously Iron Men would be 92 smithing to get their large pens going.
Oh, rough.
Yeah. Royal dragons can now be only bred using super secret farming methods. You know, I wasn't really sure what they were going for with this, and I still haven't been able to figure out what these super secret farming methods are.
I'm guessing it's not just crossbreeding, because that doesn't seem to be doing anything for me.
Okay.
And I got all different collars, so...
and I mean, I think you're going to need to... I think with this, you're probably going to need to have a very high chance of using, you know, the sparkling and shiny traits and whatnot to get that to happen. So
I think it's all coming down to the traits, but since we don't know what any of them really do, it's anyone's guess. Someone will figure it out.
Yeah, definitely.
And it'll be that we could check the wiki.
And I mean, at the time, I'm still bringing dragons out. At last count, I had 7 of them. I gave one of them away, so I'm down to 6. Hopefully, we'll have another one appearing today. So,
wow. I just got to a point where I have been getting a dragon every day now.
Yeah,
so I'm
really
happy.
Told you that's the way it's going to work. It's going to work.
It took a while, but
yeah.
And then I tried to get my. I started going for chims, so I had something in the small pens.
Mm-hmm.
5 females, dude. 5 unchecked, check them, females. I had one of every kind, just about. Until finally one of my friends took pity on me and traded me one of my females.
Oh, good.
I was like, thank you.
Good.
Yeah. I'm loving the farm.
Yeah, it's a good update. And, you know, people are still engaging with it in, 2.5 weeks after. That's a pretty good thing. So I'm pleased with that. Payments in the Herblore Habitat farming circle are now properly reduced while wearing the Master Farmer's outfit. The Chinchompa buyer will now correctly purchase any type of Chinchompa, even if it's not the variety they're after. Carnivorous Chinchompas have been changed to omnivore status and will now eat everything like every other Chinchompa. And when this patch note came out, I read this as, oh, these Chinchompas are actually going to eat other Chinchompas. But no, that's not the case. They'll just eat everything.
That would be like cannibal.
Yeah,
Chimampas, right?
It'd be like tribbles.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go.
They just eat everything. They even eat each other, and that's all they're designed to do: breed and eat. So, moving on, white lilies can once again be planted without vanishing while wearing the Master Farmer outfit. That is a obscure bug if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, wow.
So. All right, now on to ninja fixes here. Grand Exchange sale history has been doubled in size now to store 20 transactions. Activated spirit gems that have yet to use any charge can now be converted back into unactivated variants. And some more here for the GE. Specifically, after GE offers resolved, either finish or cancel, the player can now press a button on the item's resolve screen or right-click on the offer square to collect items and create a new offer with the same details as the previous offer.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's good. And, you know, we do actually have some video of how that turned out for the interaction side of it. You know, I do have one concern about this this patch note. This is indeed a ninja fix, and you know it's a good ninja fix for people who read these patch notes and the like, right? But at the end of the day, you know, if you don't read this patch note, you're not going to know this is here, because if you go to the actual sales history tab, there is nothing aside from a right click that will say that you have the option to, you know, interact with these rows, because they look like they are just static rows that cannot be interacted with. So unless someone mysteriously right-clicks in their sales history, they're not going to know how to repeat that. And that's going to disappear after this Ninja Week patch note moves on. Because when you think about it, you know, they don't publicize this. There's no other way of knowing aside from a random right-click. And that's bad for usability on these patch notes. Well, yes, it's useful. It's left to someone stumbling and figuring out this menuing option by right-clicking randomly on one of their items inside the Grand Exchange, which really bothers me. And
yeah, it's not very intuitive.
No,
right?
it's not. And the other reason it really bothers me, this right-click option here with this inside the sales history menu, is that there isn't anything said about RS Mobile with this. And last I recall, I think it was a long press was going to be the right click for RS Mobile. And if you're doing that on the Grand Exchange on RS Mobile, that's going to even be less intuitive than a right click mouse click. You're not going to do that by accident on that sales history menu. So, while yes, this is a good change, it's horribly discoverable for usability, and I would be surprised if anyone uses it beyond the people who read these patch notes.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So that's something that needs to be kept in mind going forward with this. So
yeah.
Now here's a good one, something that we have all struggled with probably time and time before. Ring of Fire, Flame Gloves, and the Inferno ads can now be reclaimed from King Rolled if lost without having to replay the all-fired-up minigame.
Because you only want to do that once. Oh, no.
Yeah. And, I mean, it was hard before the agility rework. It was hard before we had things like Surge and whatnot, and it's still rather tedious to get to all these points. So it has gotten easier over the years, but still, it's kind of obtuse.
Yeah, it's not something I would.
So that's a really good one. I'm glad that's.
If I have a choice.
Yeah. All right. You can now add your pets to a cycle of up to 10 that can be summoned on rotation by using the checkbox in the pets interface. What?
Yeah, that's actually cool because of all of our pets, and you can override a lot of them. So now, like every time you pull something out, it's just going to be in a rotation.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and
that's cool.
And you know, it wasn't immediately clear what this is. The fact that it's on override. I think if they would have said override summoning familiar, that would have been good. Because adding pets to a cycle, what does that mean? Because right now, if you choose summon pet and you have certain skill pets that are added to the list, it will already do that. So it's like, okay, don't we already have this? So it would have been nice to see that this is for summoning familiar overrides.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Now, this next section of the patch notes is dedicated to RS Mobile, and this is actually good for a number of reasons. The first reason this is good is that it shows that we're getting to a point now where RS Mobile is focusing in around, various little interfaces and whatnot, and that's good. And it's basically the level of usability fixes that we see regularly in RS, so that's one reason it's good. But another reason it's good is that they're actually shipping the changes now to RS Mobile into the game client that everyone gets. Meaning that the people who are currently testing RS Mobile inside Jagex, and maybe, I don't know if there's a player test going on right now, I don't think there is, but the people who are testing RS Mobile inside of Jagex right now are using the same client and same data set that the live game is using. And what this means is that we're probably pretty close now to an open beta for RS Mobile.
That would be awesome. And I hope that's the case, because Lord knows we haven't gotten into any betas.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're doing, because they did say they were hoping for a milestone very soon where it would be able to update the game easier, and lo and behold, here we are. We have a section for RS Mobile this week. So fingers crossed. But anyways, they updated the layout of the reward shops in places like Wyco and Elite Dungeons to allow them to be more usable. And reward shops will also now have a standard layout size, allowing scrolling and increased font size. Also updated the breakdown of the invention items in the check invention item interface. Press the level information button after you have checked an augmented item to view item level information. So that's 2 clicks away to view item level information, which when you think about it, makes sense. It's kind of got to be a little bit abstracted compared to what we have on the desktop version. Replace terminology on mobile for clan chat and guest clan chat windows when you're not in one of these chat channels. Okay. Swiping action bars to cycle through them was not working for users in both our internal and external playtesting, and we have removed the swiping of action bars in favor of buttons to select which bar is displayed, numbered from 1 to 10. Tap the small numbered display button to bring up the selection bar. And this is one of the things you learn in mobile app development, is that you don't want to use the swipe actions all too often, because in, I believe it was iOS 10 or maybe iOS 11, probably 10, I think, they did bring forward the fact that you can practically swipe on the right or the left-hand side of any interface to go back. Like if you're in your text messages app and you swipe on the left-hand side going right, it will go back to your list of contacts. Same if you're in settings, and they want to keep that motif in general the same throughout the operating system. And this has been the case in Android since the very beginning. So in general, inside an app, you want to avoid swiping unless it's for something very specific like onboarding the user to the first app experience. You don't want a little area at the bottom of the screen that you can swipe on. So this is definitely a good change for that. Because if you think about it, swiping can be done accidentally. So
yeah.
And you don't want to do that with an action bar. And it just goes against known conventions for mobile apps. Fixed an issue in the mobile client that was causing examine boxes, info boxes, error boxes, and others to render behind interfaces. Okay. And for zoomed-in mobile interfaces, these were not visible. Now they should be. And finally, an issue has been fixed that was forcing the minigame slide window to open constantly on mobile. For example, in Dungeoneering, while on the backpack, opening a door, solving a puzzle, defeating an enemy, any action had a chance to open the Dungeoneering interface panel. The same was the case using MakeX in the player-owned house. The side panel should now behave on mobile correctly. That's certainly an interesting bug there. And, it's just something that would crop up over time. That's no one's fault. That's not bad design.
Okay.
Moving on to some final other fixes here. The abilities on your action bar will now be consistently lit up if they're off cooldown.
Oh, that's good. Makes it easier to see.
Yeah, it makes it easier to see what's available. Mm-hmm. When cast on a location other than a farming patch, the rapid growth spell now displays the error. Rapid growth can only affect herb tree and fruit tree patches instead of this patch has already been enchanted with rapid growth today. Further casting would kill the plant. I had no idea you could cast it on other things.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Let's see. The hive mind of the master farmers and Olivia, the seed merchant, has been broken up and will only know if you have pickpocketed from Martin recently. That's good. That's good.
Okay.
Boosting your divination level past 99 will no longer reduce the XP gain from cursed wisps.
All right.
Yeah, people were probably concerned about that, doing cursed wisps. Now, here's an interesting one. Due to a bug, Oldak coils and kinetic cyclones can now be reclaimed from Nickelodeon near the entrance to the Dwarven Mine. If Nickelodeon can't find your registered cannon, coil, or cyclone on the current world, and this is a temporary fix. Basically, what was happening with this is that there was an odd case where if you logged out or disconnected, you would lose your cannon and you wouldn't be able to get it back because he wouldn't know where to find it.
Oh, wow.
They don't know what's causing
them.
this. So that's why this is a temporary fix where you just have to go back and get it from him. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
Be careful with your cannons and
I'm
cyclones.
not much of a fan of the cannons.
They have caused me so much anguish in the past. I really hate to put them down around other people. It's just like,
Yeah.
Because I know what I think when I see someone rolling up with a cannon. I'm like,
No.
Yeah.
And finally, killing monsters in a sinkhole will now instantly remove their interaction options, allowing you to collect your loot and move on much quicker, because we all know how important it is to be quick within sinkholes.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
There's the patch notes for the week. Anything else on this?
No, I mean, it's a patch week, and really, it's
patch week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to some other things then right now. So last week we previewed the release of Harmony and the behind the scenes of making Harmony at Abbey Road. And lo and behold, this week, actually the day after the podcast shipped, RuneScape soundtrack now available. And we were expecting to see something like this at RuneFest at the night before event, but they just went all out and released it now. So there's two soundtracks available. There is the RuneScape Orchestral Collection and RuneScape Original Soundtrack Classics. These are both available digitally on Spotify, Apple Music, and whatnot, you name it. And you can also buy either CD or vinyl versions as well, if you're into that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, I'm not quite cool enough to be into the whole vinyl record player type thing, but watching the stream, like the artwork of those albums.
Oh yeah.
I'm seriously considering buying one just to have as a collector's item for that artwork, because it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like it would be cool.
They also have two other ones that you can find exclusively online: RuneScape the Ark and RuneScape Menaphos as well.
Yeah, because, you definitely want to remember your memories of the Ark and Menaphos.
Yeah, and, I think, aside from listening, I don't know, do people listen on vinyl? Apparently if you get a good player and you have a good sound system, it's supposed to be really good quality.
People that do it swear by it. All the ones that I know are hipsters, so I am suspect, but allegedly the audio quality is better, and I can't say otherwise. So yeah, maybe it is.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know what the explanation is for why it's a better sound. That would be more your realm than mine.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how vinyl works, but I guess it's just a more precise recording. It allows sounds to be more rich, whereas if you're converting something to digital, there's always the chance that it might not be able to be, fully represented in the CD audio quality, which I believe is 96 kilohertz, 48-bit, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, that's pretty high audio. This is we do 32-bit 44100 here on the podcast, and I think DVD is 48,000 if I recall correctly. I'm not entirely sure on that, but let's have a listen to this new RuneScape arrangement here for the soundtrack, because the RuneScape theme on the Orchestral Collection is definitely something to behold. So let's just have a listen to that. And there we go.
It's good stuff.
Yep. That is something that is new, and also on this collection, if you look at it, we have Newbie Melody, which of course is the Lumbridge track, Harmony, Autumn Voyage, The Village, The Town, a rework of The Town, Scape Bold, which is what we currently hear if you go into the login screen. So, Scape Dark. So many on here that you would have heard. It's really, really great. And you can find it on Spotify and Google Play Music, Apple Music, practically everywhere.
I was streaming last night, listening to the soundtrack, and like every song I'm like, oh, I know that song. I didn't know the name of it, but like, oh, listen to this, and like, and just now listening to that track, like it was hard to not envision like almost like the opening scenes of a movie,
Yep.
like aerial shots
Yeah.
of mountains, and how like did like
Yeah.
with Lord of the Rings in New Zealand and stuff. Like that's what I picture, like seeing our Gillinor, like our world come alive.
Where would we put Lumbridge? Where would you cast? What would you cast for Lumbridge then in the real world?
Wow.
I don't know. Probably some village in the UK, right?
I don't know if the UK has any villages that's that poor though. Like that's the problem. Right? I was gonna say like Tijuana or something, maybe like.
Well, we already know Menephoso is set in Morocco.
That's true. That's true.
So,
yeah. No, actually, Lumbridge would probably be around somewhere where I'm at in the Midwest. I would guess. Kind of has that kind of terrain, It's
all right.
A lot of farming.
Yeah. That's good. I know where the Elflands are. They're here, in the foothills of in Alberta. So, anyways, that's a minor distraction here, but you can find all of these available. And one thing that really was great for me to see is that at the end of this post here, it says that the soundtrack release should not affect anyone's ability to use RuneScape music in streams or YouTube videos. Quite the opposite, in fact. If you have any issues at all using our music, then please let us know at community@jagex.com.
Cool.
And that's good for us, and that's why I played that here, because people might not read the news post, people might not know what's going on with the game, but this is definitely a content release, and it's in time for Christmas. I can imagine they'll be selling these at the venue at RuneFest for those going.
If I was going, I would have a copy of that, because could you imagine getting that signed by someone at Jagex or by the composer himself? Like it would be.
Unfortunately, they're not going to ship in time for that.
Oh no! No.
Let's see. I think they start shipping in November.
Oh, boo.
Yeah.
Well, next year you can take it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah. And normally when you do go to a concert like that, there's a chance to buy what you heard. So we'll see. We'll see if we might not have a chance to access it earlier, but nonetheless, I believe it was shipping in November. Maybe it was late October. We'll see. But anyways, that was a pleasant surprise last Friday. So.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we can share it, just because a lot of times players have their music turned off or their sound, and so this gives us an opportunity, because it's really good. Like I legitimately listened to the album last night, like while playing, and I was like, wow, this is really, really good.
So, all right, we ready to move on to the live stream of the week?
Yeah. Want me to sum it up for you?
Yeah, let's sum this up. What do you got for us here that happened? I know Mod Wolf was hosting.
Yes, he was.
Because Shawnee is still away. Doesn't look like Mod Osborne was there either. So,
luckily for Mod Wolf.
Yeah. So what do we got? What do we got in this stream?
Well, it basically sums up with you'll find out at RuneFest.
Okay.
So, no, but
let me just take a guess what they talked about for people who haven't watched it yet, based on who's here. We have two folks from the music team. We have Mod Timbo, obviously talking about ninja fixes and just general tweaks. We also have Mod Raven, who is likely going to be talking about the farm. Then we have Mod Jack, likely to answer questions about mining and smithing. I don't know who this one is second from the right.
He didn't talk much.
Okay.
So
All right. So what do we got on this live stream?
Okay, so they talked about the music and showed us like the artwork and all that. That's where I saw all that, and it was just awesome. And then there was some questions to do with the mining and smithing and the farming, especially, and we found out that they do have there are some plans, right? But they couldn't tell us a whole lot about a lot of them. So rest assured, there is a plan for lore going forward. I
think we'll be at that one for sure.
Hopefully, but you'll find more about that at RuneFest.
I'm not sure how to feel about that. The fact that you'll find out more about lore at RuneFest.
Yeah, I mean, you would expect that you would, right?
Yeah, but normally it's just a lore Q&A.
Well, and the thing was, they're all talking about like, it's a lot harder to. They say they have like maybe a 2-year plan, 6-stage thing, maybe bringing that to a close. Okay, that's fine. But like Mod Jack,
actually, I'm going to stop you right there because I was actually. This is actually something else that I didn't want to go through this because it was a 25-page survey that they sent out last week as well. But one of the questions is, you didn't get a survey?
No,
I got 2 of them.
Dude, I'm getting shunned. Why? What'd I do?
But one of them was, would you like to see the close of the 6th age and move on to the 7th age?
Okay.
That was one question. Another one was, would you like to see the far future of Gielinor?
Okay.
Just since you were talking about ages.
Well, and they were because they were talking about that, and Mod Jack was like, well, it's easier for him to get feedback when it comes to like a mining and smithing rework because that's kind of like hard numbers, and it's really hard to get the right kind of feedback when it comes to the lore. And my opinion is, don't ask the community about the lore, because that is what you hire really good writers for. And I absolutely hate you cannot do creative writing by committee. Okay. It's a bad idea. It doesn't work. So come up with a good story and make us like the story. Sell us on the story. Like, I don't know. That's my own pet peeve. Yeah. I noticed when you said that, I was like, no.
Because I mean, didn't it feel like when the 6th age started, we kind of jumped the shark a bit?
Man, we jumped the shark when they killed Gothic.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. But where do you go from there? Once you can kill gods willy-nilly, where do you go from there?
Yeah. So,
all right. Then there was and this is not in any particular order. This is just as, I was watching the stream. But Mod Wolf did accidentally give an announcement that was supposed to be at RuneFest.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was Mod Timbo's announcement, too. He looked really, really happy that he was just upstaged and took his big thing away from RuneFest.
Well, I mean, if he really wanted to, I guess he could have decked Mod Wolf. I mean, just look at the size difference of the two of them next to each other.
That poor guy would have cried. He would have cried.
All right,
but they're looking to fix RuneScape. Essentially, they feel like when it comes to especially with like the elite levels of PVM, you have to have certain auras to do certain things, and they would like that to be. They would like you to have choices to choose,
like Maniacal, for example.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we found that out. That was an accident, but I think it's good that they're looking at that, because I think that's one problem with our combat. There is a set way, there is a best set of practices, and there isn't a lot of wiggle room to like do your own thing.
And that's what EOC was supposed to fix.
Yeah, I know, but it didn't fix that at all. I think it made that 10
Speaking
times
of that,
worse.
if anyone wants to hear about EOC, check out our Patreon page at
Yeah,
patreon.com/RSBNB, where you can find that monthly bit and more.
yeah,
But I'll
definitely.
talk about that in a few moments. Anyways, continue.
They talked about possibly adding some content to the farm. Now they don't have a set plan, um, so there's nothing like in the works. But Mod Raven did say that it's relatively easy to add animals if they were to do that. There were some other things they're thinking about that he didn't specifically say, um, but it would take more work is essentially what he said. But
I'm thinking that
there
they might add other farms if that's the case.
it yeah, I mean it's entirely possible. And he said that there were people that were asking for just little things like making the fertile soil be able to.
No, don't do that.
They didn't.
Okay,
And he's not doing it.
good.
No. Yeah, he's on the same exact page as you, Shane, because he's like, no. Um, there's a reason it is the way it is.
Yeah.
So there's
People
just
need
stuff
to
like
get
that.
used to sticking their hands in the compost bin and making their own compost. That fertile soil spells a cop out.
Yeah, well,
I wonder how many people went to 120 Farming and made their own compost like I did.
you're probably it, Shane. I mean, well, there might be an Iron Man that's out there that had to do it, but otherwise, it's probably just you. Um, what what else did he?
Anything on loot beams?
Finally, they are looking at loot beams for the farming animal drops. So like the dragon eggs. Finally looking at it, and it's a level something loot beam. They're looking at level 2. I didn't know there was different levels of
No.
loot beams.
Huh.
I don't. Maybe that's an internal jargon
Okay.
or something. But they are looking at.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Because, you can configure loot beams based on the amount of GP that something is worth, right? But I'm thinking there might be a different kind of loot beam for the ultra rares, like say you get an HSR, for example.
Oh well,
They
and
could
like
put it in that
scrolls.
category. Yeah, like that.
Like,
The ones that
scrolls always be-
automatically
Yeah.
always trigger.
Yeah. Okay. That's probably what they're talking about then. So yeah, let me see. What else did they? Like I said, it was a lot of wait until RuneFest and oh, this is gonna break a lot of people's hearts.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
All right.
They are really, really scared of a construction rework. They do not want to do that. They don't want to. We're going to have to force the issue because they specifically said that apparently, I didn't know this, but Old School has some different rooms in their POHs that have been added that we don't have, and they said there are no plans to bring those to RS3. That if there is a particular thing that we want, if there is a particular need that we want addressed through the POH, maybe they'll look at that, but they're not going to wholesale bring the new rooms over. And then they went into their construction's hard routine, and
Well,
you
just to give a bit of a background on this and why it's so hard. The way construction works is that it is its own instance, and this was the very first kind of instancing that Jagex did, where you would have to go to a separate map to activate it, and then later on we got instancing where you have your own farming crops, and now you obviously have your own farm with different animals on it and whatnot. So obviously we've evolved since then, and I think the issue with farming and reworking farming and what makes it so hard is that everything in the farm is its own little
Construction.
item. It's its own, or sorry, in construction, you're right, is its own little item. Like the chairs are their own items, and everything needs to be considered that you can have a room face 90 degrees clockwise or 90 degrees the other way, and the room still needs to work. And there's just so many extra little complexities with putting them in a POH. And combining that with the instancing and just the fact that there's so many items inside that house to update makes it very difficult. And we know this because, when construction came out, that was the biggest thing we ever added to the website.
I accept that. Like Mod Jack was saying, mining and smithing took this long and construction would take twice as long as what this was. And my take on that is stop trying to fix it. Stop putting lipstick on a pig, rip it out, and give us construction 2.0. They could do that, and we've seen some, make the whole POH work how the aquarium works. I'm willing to lose my house. Just rip it out and start over. It shouldn't. I feel like that's one thing that we really, really want, and we're never, ever going to get it. So I'm kind of bummed.
Assuming we get the bank rework that handles the costume room.
Yeah.
Pets Menagerie. What can handle that?
Well, if we were to get the pet park.
Pet park. Okay.
Yeah.
What if pets were made purely virtual? In that you only see them if you want them to follow you. That way, then you wouldn't need a menagerie. Then, I mean, obviously, the point of the menagerie is to see the pets, but who goes to their POH to see pets? If there's someone out there who does, please let us know.
I use mine. Well, I used mine to theme things actually.
To what?
Well, I had a goal of having all dragons, so I have a bunch of dragons.
Running
I have one of every
house.
color, and one of every color, and
okay.
And my dungeon's full of dragons, and so yeah. I don't know. I'm just one guy though, so
yeah. Then the dungeons, the PvP dungeons and stuff in the dungeons, that's another use case for the house. People used to use them for house parties. I think the issue is that what construction was initially designed for, to provide storage for armor and whatnot, that's been abstracted away to the bank, and will be even more so with the bank rework. So you don't even need a costume room. The aquarium is underground. You have to go into the aquarium to see your fish.
Yeah, the dumbest thing ever. Yeah. But this stuff should be at our house. I feel like we should have a greenhouse. We should have an aquarium. We should have just because that stuff is available other places, I would have rather it was at my house.
Yeah.
But they just didn't go in that direction. I don't know.
Because see, the thing I'm trying to figure out is what is the use of construction in 2018?
There's not much of one. The use of construction is make pawnbroker, rinse, repeat. That's it. I mean, that's what you do. Yeah. Well, there you go. We could see. So let's start over, and construction could be like a little mini Minecraft with planks. We can build ourselves a shack or something. I don't know, but
and see,
it's hard because it's my favorite skill.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it always was.
So, what do you think it should be then? I mean, I have no idea what it should be.
The thing that I liked about construction and what I think is special about it is it's the one place in this game that you can express your own creativity and kind of make something yours. And
what about Fashionscape?
Yeah, that's your other outlet, and there's more of that now than there was, when I started. But I've always enjoyed that kind of a building game and making
Like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yes, yes. And so to have this little, this little carve out in RuneScape where you could do stuff like that was just, I really liked it. Like, I don't know how much money that I have wasted, like tearing a house down and rebuilding it. I've probably done it 3 times.
Yeah. And we do have a tool for that as well. The house designer on RSBANDB, one of our proudest features, it's easy to maintain at this point in terms of rooms and whatnot, but allows people to be truly creative with their house.
I wish I had known that when the aquarium came out, because I messed my whole house up trying to put that thing in.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
You can choose floor, you can choose all the various rooms, you can rotate rooms. Yeah. And I mean, you can even share and save the houses too. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. RSBANDB.com/house.
Very cool.
Believe the short URL for that is. So. Yeah. So I mean, obviously, it seems as though we have a bit of an issue here determining what construction is too ourselves. I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so this is one that is not going to be resolved anytime soon, if ever. I hope so, though. I really think the thing about construction is it has the potential to be unlike any other skill in the game. It's very, very unique if it were to reach its potential.
See, the thing is you need someone who is a visionary to come in both in terms of content and engine programming, and maybe even graphics to handle this, just the way that Andrew did with Dungeoneering. Dungeoneering took 2 years to build, so obviously late 2007 through April 2010, and that was, for all intents and purposes, Andrew's last big thing that he did for the game. And, we talked about this when Menaphos came out, the last truly RuneScape-y thing to come out that, was fresh and, something that no one had seen before was Dungeoneering. So,
yeah.
And if construction could be that, then that's a good thing. So,
yeah.
But anyways, house designer, rsbnb.com/house. Anything else from the live stream?
I don't think I missed anything.
All right.
Oh, the farming outfit does work while you're not at the, or it does increase the speed of your farm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I thought that was in the tooltip, and I thought that was known.
They mentioned it in the stream, so I don't know. I'm just.
All right.
It seemed important, so I.
Fair enough. Well, then.
I think that's it, though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on then to questions. But before we do that, we'll give some thanks to our wonderful Patreon supporters this week. So, special thank you goes out to Cody T, Nora, Kyle, and Brock H. Thank you guys for your wonderful support of this podcast and enabling us to do what we do going forward. So, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yes. Thanks so much. Appreciate
and
it.
If you want more information about this, just head on over to patreon.com/RSBANDB where you can find out all the tiers. For as little as $1 a month, you get access to our monthly bits, our early show notes, and if you want to go to $3 a month, you'll get a special VIP rank on Discord and a special mention on the podcast at the start of the month, as well as a high-quality stereo AAC version of the show each and every week, which you'll be wanting this week to hear the new RuneScape soundtrack, I believe, because you don't want to hear that at MP3 64 mono. You want to hear that in its full glory of maximum audio quality at stereo AAC. So that's at $3 a month, and at $5 a month if you want a shout out on the podcast every week and exclusive access that we use to the outtakes for the clip show at the end of the year. You can do that. That's in the $5 a month tier. And by supporting RSBANDB Update, you basically help us to continue to grow the podcast. And we already do our monthly bit. We're doing our video shows. And we've actually reworked our tiering. So we're going straight up to our third tier at $60 a month. If we get there, will be a live stream where we live stream one of our RuneScape play sessions each Monday, showcasing the game update of the week. And even if it's ninja fixes, right, Tanis?
Yep, that's right.
So
I'll find something for us to do.
yeah, you can find out more about this at patreon.com/RSBANDB, including all the monthly bits, the Evolution of Combat, the Player Moderator Special, pretty good ones. So with that being said, thank you once again to the wonderful supporters who support this podcast. Thank you. All right, so we got a couple questions this week. First one's from Whitey. Hi, Shane. Got a question for your next show. So recently I've been looking at a lot of ways to train farming because of the skill of the month. I recently found out about Herblore Habitat. I had a great time learning and catching all the Jajinkos and got a nice maps to show off. Have you guys ever completed Herblore Habitat, and what do you think about it?
Yeah. So I did the Herblore Habitat to get my 99 hunter.
Okay.
We didn't have quite the options that we have now. Like there was no skill champas or anything like that.
Or crystal
so the best
champas.
Yeah, so the best rate you could get was the Draconic Chitinkos, I think.
Yeah.
And I vowed to never go there ever again. I didn't like it a whole lot.
It's one of those odd updates. It's one of those updates that you do once to get what you need out of it, and then you move on. And you know, it used to be good fire making XP too, burning the roots down there. Obviously that has been replaced by the pitch can and whatnot, and bonfires. We know how the pitch can work, right?
Yeah.
So, the one thing that keeps me coming back to Herblore Habitat, and someone's got to do it, is that if you go down below into the dungeon, you can kill the creatures down there to get your favor points up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So once you max out on favor points, you can choose to get a collection of seeds or, you know, maybe other rewards from it. I always just choose the pure seeds option. And what people don't know, it's not immediately clear, but you can kill things down there to raise your favor and then just claim all the seeds from that. You don't need to do hunter and whatnot up above to get seeds. You don't need to do that. So if you prefer to just go kill things down below and then get seeds off that, you can. And the reason I do that is that lets me grow the special vine herbs that let me make my juju farming potions. So, you know, every probably about 4 months, the amount of herbs I get from the yield, it puts it about every 4 months or so. I go down there, kill it, bring it up to maximum favor. Then I go set the Jadinkos right, so I get I don't remember offhand which one gives the marble vine, because that's what you need for the
very intricate. Yeah, you got to have everything set up just right and the right pits and.
See, I don't.
Right.
Oh no, it's not the marble vine. I basically set it up so that the only things I will get are herb seeds, and then with that, the herb seeds get used to make the juju farming potions. So it is very intricate, and even I don't remember what my exact settings are when I go there. So most of the time, it just stays where it is. And another thing that's really good about it that people aren't immediately aware of is that that's the seventh fruit tree patch. You can actually use that in your farming run. And Tanis, you found that out when we were talking about Skill of the Month.
Yes.
So, if you think there's 6 fruit tree patches, there's actually 7. You can find number 7 at Herblore Habitat. So those are my 2 main uses for it. I don't use it for hunter or fire making XP. I just use it to get seeds and the vine herbs off it to make juju farming potions, which are incredible for herb farming. So you definitely want those.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, it was the best hunter that you could do. Definitely. But now there's just a lot more options.
Yeah, now, but why? I mean, a year ago, Double XP weekend, I believe it was, or maybe it was the February one. I think it was a year ago. I did protein traps at the Crystal Champas.
Yes.
Hunters.
And you were probably pulling close to $1 million an hour, right? Yeah. Yeah. So. And Draconic Jadinkos were close to 200K.
Yep.
And that was
250 if you did it optimally.
Was it 2? Yeah.
250 if you did it optimally. Yeah. So you can see how things have evolved, and it's kind of just an update that people go to when they need a niche seed or something like that. So,
Yeah.
But it's a good thing to experience, and thankfully, I think they moved all the clue scrolls out of that area because that's annoying to get to.
Yeah.
So, also, a quick way to get there for anyone who doesn't know, you can purchase the seed teleport bags, and that'll teleport you instantly there. So that speeds up that part of the farming run. So.
Yep.
But overall, I think we were happy about Herblore Habitat when it came out, and it's just kind of grown to be a mid-level piece of content that you're going to do when you're leveling up Hunter, probably around, the 80s range, maybe?
You know now, though, there's a skill champa for you, whatever tier you're in. Right. So I just can't imagine doing that. Yeah, because the skill champas you can use for other training or selling, and just everything at the Jagex is that enclosed system, and it. So I never thought it was worth. Like, to me, I never got anything out of it. Like, I got those seeds, and I might as well throw them on the ground because I wasn't doing anything with those seeds. So yeah, I know. Sorry, Shane. Well, yeah. What am I going to do with them?
Plant them and make juju potions. They sell for quite a bit. Some of them.
Yeah, but I didn't like farming until a week ago.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. All right. So there's the question on Herblore Habitat. All right. Now here's a great expansion question from Dragoil. What's the next place you want to be visually updated? And this kind of goes with what we were talking about with the graphical scenery in the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. Ferminic?
We might be getting that.
Really? That'd be cool.
One of the things that is supposedly the theme of RuneFest this year is Fremenic area.
That'd be cool. That, to me, is like still a pretty old-looking area of the game.
Yeah.
So.
We were going to get Sears Village, but they said that their technologies and processes had changed so that it invalidated most of the work that they did.
Yeah, too bad someone didn't see that coming.
I wouldn't mind seeing a new gnome area with the next gnome quest. Maybe? Please? That'd be fun.
The gnomes are so annoying, though.
What? now that the elves are done, my second favorite quest line, aside from the elemental workshops, is the gnomes.
Oh, it's a good quest line, but the gnomes are annoying. But it's a good quest line. Maybe they could bring in the underwear gnomes from South Park. That would be.
I have not seen that.
You're not a South Park watcher, Shane?
No.
Back in the day, no.
No.
Okay.
They could also update the Yanil and Gutanoth area. That hasn't been updated since it came out.
Yeah. And there's space there if they needed to put some stuff in there, like there's nothing really in between that Yamil and the whole Relica Hunter area, or not Relica, the Hunter area. Felipe
Hills. Yeah.
Phillip Hills, yeah.
There's also the Karemjan Islands. That hasn't been updated, and I know there was a question asked a while back about whether or not they could update the trees on Karamja to be the same trees that are on the Ark. They said they could, but they might look out of place. So basically what we're seeing here is there's only really, 3 or 4 major areas that haven't been graphically updated, unless you or I guess I'm forgetting Ardoyan in that, but Ardoyan would probably be included in the Yanil South area graphical update, right?
Yeah. Can we get some West Ardoyan love? I mean,
what would we do there? Yeah, that'd be interesting to have a place to go there after completing the Plague Quest line.
I don't know. Give them a homeless shelter or something. I mean, it's they've had a hard time of it. I mean, we cleaned up Edgeville. Come on.
Yeah. And, that's an option, too, that players can do as well. Players don't need to do that. So, I don't know. I would personally probably say the Yanil Ardoin area, somewhere in there, even if it's just one of those cities. Probably Ardoin. Probably Ardoin.
Okay.
Yeah. Though I suspect it'll be Fremennik, the next one.
That would be cool. I've always been partial to the Fremennik
Maybe we can get the
storylines.
proper Fremennik quest instead of the V quest.
Oh man, that would be great. That wasn't a Fremennik quest either. It just started there. Like it started there. It was.
Oh, we're gonna give you a Fremennik quest, but it's actually a Dragon King quest.
The biggest troll ass beginning of a quest I have ever. It still saddens me. See, that's what happens when you jump to shark.
Yep.
You jump to shark. Now we can just kill them willy-nilly whenever we want to.
There's also the Coltrex area as well. That's another area. See, all these areas in the west but not Prif are just horribly out of date.
Yeah, and there's so much space there, and they act like we don't have like any room on our map. Well, I know. I mean, like, cause what? And okay, now think about this too. Once we get the mining and smithing, what are we gonna do there? It's useless.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll have to look and see where all the new ores are and whatnot, and what that does to the traffic areas too. So
yeah.
All right. Thank you for that question, Dragoil. Did you say what your area was?
Fremennik?
Okay.
Yeah. All
right. Fair enough. And when you look at the rest of the map, everything has really been graphically updated. So, yeah. All right, that's another one. RSBANDB.com/map. That's another short URL to remember. Boy, we're just on a run with those, aren't we?
You know what, Shane?
What?
You know what would be really cool for a graphical rework? Do you think we could ever see the world in first person? Just one time, just a glimpse to look around in first person.
Yeah, that's what we've been talking about a bit, haven't we?
Yeah. Yeah, but it'd be so cool though, wouldn't it? Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh man.
That would. All right, if you guys want to indulge us with more RuneScape fantasies, just send in a question to questions@rsbnb.com, or you can call or text 571-57BNB, which is 571-572-2632, or you can leave us a DM on Twitter @RSBNB. That's how Whitey sent in his question, so you can find us on the Twitter machine @RSBNB. All right, so moving on to tech news this week. This one's from you. It's something that a lot of people are going to be very happy about, and that is that Sony has announced something called PlayStation Classic, just in time for the holiday season.
Yes, they're going to jump on that nostalgia train too, because the NES Classic sold so well they ran out of them, and they were going for double, triple, quadruple the price on eBay. They made more of the or the Super Nintendo Classic, and same thing still happened. So Sony's going to dip their toe in that water too. It's supposed to be a smaller replica of the PS1. It'll look just like the old PS1s did, the gray box. And it's going to come preloaded with 20 classic PlayStation games, and
including
this will
Final Fantasy VII, Tekken 3, and Wild Arms.
Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game ever.
And I think it was one of the first optical drive-based gaming devices, wasn't it? CD. CD.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it will be shipping with. Also, you're going to get the first generation of the PlayStation controller, so not the Dual Shock. It'll be the ones that pre-Dual Shock controllers.
I never liked the PlayStation controllers.
See, I was always very, very partial to those. Like, I could never use an Xbox controller for the longest time because I was a PlayStation guy. So it was I didn't.
The Xbox controllers just feel so much more ergonomic.
Now that
I'm pulling one out here because if you look at an Xbox controller, it just flows. It doesn't have, if you look at the original PlayStation controller that they have on the pictures here, it doesn't have as the hand grips aren't as elongated, and it just morphs nicer to it. And granted, this is an Xbox One controller, but the 360 was largely the same. the original Xbox was a bit bigger, but
They were, yeah. I didn't like the original ones. In fact, I couldn't use an Xbox controller until I started PC gaming, and then trying to get a PlayStation controller to work on a PC is a nightmare.
Yeah,
but
well,
Xbox,
Microsoft.
real easy. Yeah, exactly. And now I use it, and I couldn't imagine actually using anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like the only thing that I'm a little iffy is the price tag on this is going to be $100.
Yep.
And that's considerably more than the Super Nintendo or the Nintendo Classics were. But
it doesn't have an actual CD drive. That's just for fake. I assume it's loaded.
It's loaded with 20 games
over USB or something like that. So.
Yeah, and I don't think they've announced a whole complete list. Just some highlights, but I mean Tekken 3 and Final Fantasy 7 were just.
It changes virtual disk. That's what the open button does, right?
And they were groundbreaking at the time.
Yeah.
And this is going to coincide. This is almost like, I think it was 25 years.
Yeah, that's what it said. 25 years.
25. It's hard to believe it's been 25 years, and we're in the PS4. And can you imagine what? I mean, it's crazy when you think of how good the consoles look today, and they don't even look as good as our big gaming PCs.
That's
right.
Like
it's
the
it's
Xbox
amazing.
One X can give it a bit of competition, being able to do 4K 60 without sweating. But
that's true. But
And I mean, there's always the thing with these is that you buy the money if you're a true fan of these old games, because anyone who really wants to can get an emulator and just play these games on their PC, or and project it to the TV with HDMI. And you buy these if you want to support Sony and if you want to homage back to how it used to be. But anyone who's been playing these games or wants to is using an emulator at this point.
Yeah. And well. Believe it or not, there is a considerable market for vintage stuff like that. So, but if I could have gotten a hold of the classic NES, I would have. If I could have gotten a hold of the Super NES, I would have gotten that, and I might get this one because this is when I grew up, and like, I don't know if you notice, like people like our parents' age or whatever, they're always going back and trying to buy back their toys. Yeah. And so like these are kind of like our toys that we grew up with that we're trying to get back now. So
and when you think about the generation shift on that, the current generation is going to have a problem with that because everything is going to be digital. It's all going to be playable. You just have to hope that they keep the old versions around on the computer and whatnot. So, all right. So that is the Sony PlayStation Classic. It's going to be a good Christmas gift for some people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So our next story is something relating to Google. In particular, we've seen the new Gmail roll out, and Google has provided data that says 10% of all Gmail messages being sent now are being written by Google robots, otherwise known as the Smart Reply feature, which basically looks at the message using machine learning and composes a short, brief response to it. I've had basic responses like, okay, see you then. Thanks for the question, for people who send questions in, believe it or not. And it does that. And you literally just have to click it and you're able to send it. And this is something that actually came around with the Gmail Inbox app in 2015 when Inbox first came out. Inbox is being discontinued in March 2019 for those of you guys who use that. But for regular people who are using Gmail, 12% of all replies in Inbox were with this feature, and 10% now in Gmail are with this. So people are just literally going into Gmail, clicking on the message and saying, what is going to be the best reply for this? And here, have a reply. So, this is really showing, I think, what people can expect when it comes to, I guess, keyboard prediction and maybe autocorrects in the future. because when you think about it, this is a very advanced autocorrect. So this is something that Gmail has been working on, and if anyone's going to get it done right, that's who's going to do it. So 10% of all replies are just that.
Well, they have the data to work with, right?
Yeah, I just hope it's being siloed correctly so that it's only being used for my account. And, I think if they did their models correctly, that's how it would end up. But, you can never know.
No.
Okay. Now, the final piece of tech news is something that was announced back in June, but has just recently came out, and that's that iOS 12 has shipped this week.
Yeah.
So, now, iOS 12 is one of the releases that goes back very, very far on this in terms of device usability and devices that can actually run iOS 12. Going back so far that the iPhone 5S can run iOS 12. So that's back when they were running the 4-inch iPhones, and even iPad Mini 2 can run the iOS 12. So practically any modern iOS device can run iOS 12, and it comes with a number of features that we talked about before, like redesigned apps and some new Siri interactions, focus on privacy as Apple likes to do, streamlined notifications, better Photos application, better keyboard in terms of being able to use the keyboard now as a trackpad, even if you have a device that doesn't have 3D touch on it. And, people always have concerns about running the newest version of iOS and updating when it comes out right away. And, it gets lost in a lot of the hoopla. People decide that they don't want to upgrade. The numbers that are coming out so far for iOS 12 show that within 48 hours of launch, 10% of all iOS devices are running iOS 12 already, and that's just going to continue to go up and up and up. And the reason I wanted to talk about iOS 12 for Tech News this week, the release of it in particular, is because I want to tell everyone who has one of the supported devices on this list, yes, you want iOS 12. You want iOS 12 even if you're running that iPhone 5S. Or even that iPhone 6, practically any phone, you want iOS 12. Because, last year I moved away from the trusty iPhone 5S to an iPhone 8 Plus. And, the main reason for getting the big one was RS Mobile. We're still waiting on that. And, I really did enjoy that small phone size of the iPhone 5S and iPhone SE, and it's a device that I still enjoy. And I replaced it because it was getting slow and the battery life wasn't as good as it could have been. Well, after updating to iOS 12 this week, I can honestly say that if I didn't have an iPhone 8, I would be perfectly fine using my iPhone 5S with, just for basic things. Obviously, it wouldn't play games or anything on it, but iOS 12 made this iPhone 5S from October 2013 fly. You tap Safari, it opens in the same amount of time Safari opens on the iPhone 8. Granted, the pages load a little bit slower because of the processing involved for that, but for most things that you're going to want to do, if you're just using it as a communications device, social media and whatnot, it just makes the device fly. So I'm here telling everybody who has an iOS device to upgrade to iOS 12, because it will make your device faster if it is not an iPhone 8 or an iPhone 10 or a new iPhone XS. It will just make the device so much faster. So that's why we're talking about the release of this. iOS releases don't normally make devices faster, but here we are. Fast.
Very cool.
Very fast. And, I honestly can't tell the difference in terms of app loading speeds. It is indistinguishable. So.
Wow. So they came up with a solution rather than
rather than making it feel like forced obsolescence and whatnot with the battery issue that we had before on the 6s and beyond. So
okay, good deal.
Run those software updates and get iOS 12. Really good software updates. Normally you have to check, will this make my device slower or will it not? Well, here we are. much faster.
Yeah, I did it as soon as you let me know, and I haven't had any problems whatsoever. Like it works great.
And, another good thing about it is that if you use password managers like LastPass, I don't know if LastPass supports it yet, but if you use the 1Password manager, which is the most native password manager you can get for the iPhone, it will automatically handle inserting passwords into pages and whatnot for you. It's just all that integration. It's a nice upgrade. So everyone grab that.
Very cool.
All right. That sounded like a pick of the week, but I do actually have something else also iOS related for the pick of the week. But first, let's have a look at the farming skill of the month. How
you doing, Shane?
I've slowed down because, I could do more. I could go for this. I am closing in on number 4. I'll probably get to number 4. We'll see if I get to number 3. But I'm actually trying something a little bit different, and I want to see what I can do on the last of the month, if at all possible. I have an idea in my mind. People who have been listening to my commentary on the farm will know what I'm talking about. But
I think I have a feeling.
Yeah, we'll just wait and see if anyone realizes it, because I currently have 7 dragons in my possession.
Wow. Well, good luck, Shane. And now you know Sorensen is a beast.
Speaking of that, Sorensen is in first place with 18.1 million XP gains. Second place is Poison Nova with 5.9, and in third place we have Whitey with 4 million XP.
Wow!
Congratulations.
18 mil.
Yeah,
farming.
18 mil.
That sounds like a lot. That's a lot, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of AFKing at Aqua Knights.
Oh, well, yeah, but that's like 70 or 80K an hour.
Yep.
It is not much.
Yeah. So.
Whew.
Indeed. All right. So we also do have a bunch of achievements this week to make up for last week's drought. Yes. So what do you got for us?
Okay. So we have tons and tons. Okay. So Cabbage got 99 magic on September 19th. Barrel Rose got 99 strength, 99 prayer, 99 dungeoneering, 99 invention, 99 magic, 99 crafting, 99 smithing, 99 summoning, 99 defense, 99 attack, 99 ranged, 99 slayer, 99 rune crafting, 99 herb lore, and 99 agility, 99 thieving, and 99 fletching, all on September 19th. Wow.
That must have been strange rocks.
It had to have been. Wow. I don't know if that is a record, but that is a lot.
I think someone did max one week by getting all 99s here. I don't remember who it was, but I'm pretty sure it did happen in the past.
That is a lot of 99. So, yeah, good job.
All right. Continuing on that, we do have some other ones to add some entropy to this list. Daniel J. Saint with 120 Constitution on the 19th. Ultra Dog 177 with 99 Smithing on the 19th as well. Then moving on to the 18th, Touchpad Pro with 200 million Fletching XP. That's a big one.
Wow.
Lots of bolts there, I bet, right?
Yeah, or broadheads.
Yeah, broadheads, okay. Cabbage with 99 Strength on the 18th as well. Then iHerblaw, 120 Prayer, September 17th. He's the hardcore Iron Man from Clan Quest. And it gets better for him. 120 Constitution as well. Chewbacca got 99 Slayer on the 17th. Desmo 360 coming in with 99 Attack, Defense, and Strength on the 16th. Curtains with 99 Smithing on the 14th. Mats 3774 with 99 Construction on the 14th. Silver Wiz 9, a.k.a. Paul, with 99 Thieving on the 14th. And Sina ATN with 99 Farming on September 13th. That's a good one to round off this list with.
Very cool. Good job, guys.
Nicely done. That makes up for the drought last week, I believe.
Yeah, very, very good, everybody.
All right, time for a pick of the week. So, you know, we talked about iOS a lot. We talked about iOS 12 a lot, and you know, one of the things that has been a constant source of criticism for iOS is that it's hard to do things with Siri, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Apple's making this easier by creating an API to allow developers to hook into it, and that's all well and dandy. And you can do that with the Google News app, for example. So if you have a specific source that you want to read, you can just add that as a source into Siri. So you could just say, Siri, read my news feed, and you can give it whatever name that you want. So if you have a special news feed, you could just name it whatever you want. You can do that. That's built into the app, into Google News. But to enable that, there's an app called Shortcuts, which you can get. And this was talked about in June with iOS 12. But it's a free app from Apple. It's not included on the iPhone by default. But basically what Shortcuts lets you do is it allows you to create shortcuts on your device to do things and pass data between applications. So, for example, some of the ones it gives are get me an ETA to home, directions to my next event, upload the last photo to the cloud, play a playlist, show me a walking directions to the nearest coffee shop, or make a PDF. Those are some of the examples it gives. And basically what you do is you string a bunch of things together graphically so that you can pass the data between applications. It can interact with Safari. It can pretty much interact with all the default apps on iOS. It can't, though of note, interact with the Podcasts app yet, which is really disappointing. And you'll get why in a second. But it can interact with everything else. It can interact with music, maps, you name it, practically everything on iOS. And the idea behind this is that you can string things together. And so one of the things that I did that I use a lot of in Google Chrome is that if I hover over some text in Chrome, I always have a search with Google option, right? And it just opens up a new tab and it lets me search in that. So one of the things I did is that I basically made a shortcut with the Shortcuts app so that I select any text on iOS, click the share button, and then tap Shortcuts, and it'll say search with Google, and then it searches that word right away into Google search. And there's no copying and pasting. It's just a matter of selecting the text, and a few taps, I get my search. So that's one way of using it. Another way of using it is that you can add shortcuts to your home screen. And what I did for this, and this is something I do often when I'm playing RS, and I figure this is a good place to do it if I'm playing full screen and I don't want to Alt-Tab, I made a shortcut to look up someone's RuneScape high scores. So basically what I'll do is I'll press this button on my home screen. It'll ask me for the RuneScape name. Then it'll open their Rune Metrics profile with all their stats and whatnot available. And I'll just be able to view it in the Safari page on that. So those are two things that I've used it for so far. Other things you can use it for is you can use it for interacting with the music application. So if you have a specific playlist and for some reason Apple Music is always getting it wrong, you can literally go into Shortcuts and say type out the name of your playlist. And then you can also, one thing that I said that you could do that I didn't mention before is you can access these through the share menu in Safari, right? You can also access them through your home screen. But you can also make a Siri hot word activation for it. So you can literally say, say Siri, look up this person. Oh, no, I don't need you right now. You can literally look up this person on the RuneScape high scores if you wanted to do that, and then it would just do it by just speaking to it. Though the downside is that when saying Shane12088, it automatically puts a space in there, so I had to go with text input rather than voice input.
Still,
so
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so basically what you can do is if you have a news reading list in Google News, you can set it up so that you will activate Siri with your own hot word for that, and it'll pop up in Google News exactly what you want. Same as if you were to say set up your own playlist, you could basically say it that way. Or if you had some other thing that basically you wanted to every day at 4:30 when you're coming home, you would basically you send a text message to your loved one saying where you are, and it would show a map, and then it would also activate the driving directions. You could also program that string of applications in to trigger with either app click or by just talking to Siri. So that's what you can do with Siri shortcuts.
Wow, I feel like there's a lot of accessibility potential here.
Yeah, so you should
It's very
definitely have a
cool.
look at Siri
Yeah.
Shortcuts then. The app is just called Shortcuts. It's free. It works on all iOS devices. It's a little bit obtuse to get into because you kind of have to have a logical step-by-step programming mindset to go with this, but there is no actual code involved in it.
Huh?
There is a gallery of pre-existing ones that are provided by Apple that can help you along to get started. So I'll just run through some of those right now. So one of them is called Shortcuts for Sharing. So share my location, share reminders, upload last photo, airdrop a screenshot, share my clipboard, open a Twitter list, search on Twitter, ASCII keyboard. Let's see, what else? When do I need to leave by? You could basically have it say, when do I need to leave by? And it would look at your calendar and see where you have to go next and tell you when to leave. Based on that, that's one of the existing ones. There's a brush your teeth timer, a tea timer. You can log water drinkage with the Apple Health app. So, yeah, lots of things you can do in here, and lots of pre-built shortcuts as well if you just want to kind of get going with it. And what I'll do in the show notes is I'll actually put a link in the show notes to my RuneScape high score lookup series shortcuts so everyone can see how it is structured and basically how to use these if you do end up downloading the Shortcuts app.
Oh, that's cool. That sounds like it'd be really beneficial for like clan owners or anybody that's into the recruiting.
Yeah.
So you can look at somebody real quick.
Right. And,
Like,
the day this came out, I spent an hour and a half messing around in the app trying to figure out what to do with it. And these are the two that I settled on that ended up working quite well. So
Cool.
Shortcuts, you can find a link in the show notes at update.rsbnb.com. All right.
Right on.
What have you been up to this week?
I have been, well, I've been farming. So I started farming after last week's show. I've been doing herbs and flowers and my farm, of course. I'm not really doing trees or the fruit trees right now. I do a little bit of fruit because I use that for feed. I got stuck getting only female chims.
Oh.
Got 5 of them.
Oh.
So I ended up with 3 crystal, 1 crimson, 1 cobalt. Because I'm like, I'll go somewhere else and try to, get one, and I could not get a male.
Yeah. I'm actually in the same situation now with my dragons. I only have 1 male dragon, but thankfully he's good for breeding.
Yeah, he's a stud, right? So yeah, I mean, I've actually done a ton of hunter, and I never thought I was going to do more hunter. It's not really one of the more enjoyable skills that I like because it's very click intensive. But I've been doing a lot of hunter, and then I've been finding myself like while I'm doing that, I've been like going down the rabbit hole of this whole rap beef that's been going on, and the day after. The day after, we the pick of the week was Rap Devils, and the next day Eminem came out with his diss track, and wow, it was just a lot of stuff. So yeah, how about you, Shane?
All right, farm constantly. I was up to 7 dragons. I sold one of them. Waiting to see if we have any new arrivals today. Hopefully, it'll be a male. Need more of those. And just lots of farming this month, and actually getting down to back div gathering, getting some GP going again, because I think I did the calculation. I would lose about 2 to 3 million GP if I sold all the potions I made on double XP weekend right now. So waiting for those to go up, prayer renewal potions. Last Saturday, after our Patreon town hall, I had my maxing ceremony. We had about 14 people at the Max Guild who all came to have fun with that, and there's a photo gallery in Clan Quest regarding that, so that was good fun. Everyone who was there bought the Max Cape and entered the Max Guild for the first time. So, yeah.
Good to see you there, Shane.
Yeah.
Finally.
I've been keeping
I honestly
don't know. I don't even know if I'll use it.
You should. But it's perfect. It's like everything you could ever want. Shane, it's where the cool kids hang out, okay?
I guess. The Cool Kids Club.
That's right.
So, yeah, you get the reference there, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, all right. No, but beyond that, not too much on RS, just getting the farming going and whatnot. And on your recommendation, actually tried Elder Scrolls Online, so we'll see where we get with that. And that's kind of what led to our discussion in pre-show, that Elder Scrolls Online feels a lot like a first-person 3D world, immersive, no-grid system RuneScape would. So
yeah, maybe we'll get one of those. Maybe. You know, a guy can dream, right?
Yep. Though I think there are purists who would not like that. But hey, you got to advance going forward. So
yeah, well, if they're churning their own butter, then I'll listen to them. But if they're not, and if they're not riding a horse, I really don't care.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it for this week. I guess we can announce that for RuneFest, you and Earth will be doing the show.
Yeah. Are you scared, Shane?
No, you guys will be fine.
You may have a lot of editing when you get back.
No, he's editing it.
Oh.
The reason to choose him is because he is aside from me, the person I know who will take care of the audio quality. And as you know, RSBANDB Update does not skimp on audio quality. The video can look like garbage. The video can be, just there, but the audio quality has to be primarily what this podcast is. So
no, yeah, we'll do a good job with that, and I will do my best to keep it to the 5 Fs. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Well, anyways, with that being said, if you want to join us in game, you can find us at Friends Chat Bits Bytes. We're also on Twitter at RSBANDB, and if you want full show notes, update.rsbnb.com. And with that being said, we'll see you next week for another RSBANDB update, which will hopefully be the Quest Point shop. See you then, everyone.